Hi, and welcome to this installment of Frank and Mary here in Southborough. If you haven't seen this show before, my name is Bergeron. I'm an elder law attorney at Myrick O'Connell. That is my day job, but this is not about my day job. It's about my friends Frank and Mary. If you've seen any of my presentations, you know that Frank and Mary's goal in life is to live in their house until they die and be buried in the backyard. And if that's you and you want to stay right here in Southborough, the point of this show is to help you know who you need to know and what programs you need to know about in order to do exactly that, to stay right here for the rest of your life. So my wonderful co-host, Doug Peck, has been with me kind of since the beginning here. We were talking about several years ago, because he always finds the guests. Doug is well, he's not from here. He's from faraway Ashland. You know, he's been living here for a long, long time, and has got some very great local guests, people you have to know, because they're with an institution that you do know about. So Doug, whom do we have today?
Today, we have two folks with us. Ryan Donovan, who is the director of the Southborough Library, and Kim Ives, who is the assistant director of the library. And I just know that, I mean, what spurred me to this was an email I got from them that was talking about a bunch of new things that were going on, grants that they had gotten. And I just said, there's so much stuff here going on at the library that we need to let people know about. I thought it was very important because things change all the time. And there's some brand new stuff that people really want to take advantage of, particularly in the winter. So and this is Ryan and Kim. I think I'm going to let Kim talk a little bit first. It's always the assistant that knows actually what's going on in the library. They're more hands-on, but I know Ryan's always there as well. So Kim, tell us a little bit about, I mean, one of the things that spurred me to talk to you was the recipes and the cooking stuff, the grant that you had got for that. So can you just tell us a little bit about what's happening?
The cooking actually is more, actually that's more Ryan.
Okay.
That's also the youth services librarian, Mariana Sorensen, who have been involved in that. So, you know, we are doing a little bit, I am working with them a little bit on providing some, helping to find some children's cooking or kitchen related type of programming. But Ryan is actually more the point on that one. Could I talk about another grant that we
You can talk about anything, yeah, what you're involved with.
We just want people to get a sense of what's there, because you know, once again, I grew up in Marlborough, and I will always say, oh, of course, I've been to the library like 40 years ago, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe some of the people have changed, you know, and maybe there's some new programs and stuff. So really, this is the point of this, is I bet you a lot of these people are watching you saying, oh yes, I go back by the library all the time, but I haven't been in a long time. So that's the point. Okay. Yeah.
So last summer, I had gotten a grant from the Southborough Community Fund, and it provided for a week-long, we called it Comics Academy, but it was a week-long workshop, 5 days in a row, where we had kids age 8 and older come, and they learn how to make their own comic books or graphic novels, because graphic novels are a huge thing now for the kids. Like, they love to read them, and the collection just keeps growing and growing. So I had worked with a very talented cartoonist who I've known for many, many years. In fact, both of us had gone to Algonquin High School together. I had known him from then, and he has his first graphic novel coming out next year. His name is Jonathan Todd, but he also coordinates the Boston Kids Comic Fest and plenty of other things. So we worked together to get this grant from the community fund. And so the 20 kids who attended had a week-long session. They learned all about how to create a story, how to create plot, characters, all that. And then they were able to each make a small book, and by the end of the week, and then took all of their books they had laid out. So they made them on big papers, you know, so like cardstock type of thing. And then he took all those, shrunk them down to the size of the book, made copies for everybody so that each participant could have 5 copies so that they could give to their family, give to their friends, swap with their friends, whatever. And we had a reception for them the following week so that we could have everybody's work out, show their families, their friends could come and see. they could talk to Jonathan, the parents could talk to Jonathan.
Mhm.
And so we decided, well, we were in the middle of this last year, he and I were just brainstorming, and we said, how can we do it next year and make it a little bit different and maybe better? So we came up with something that we're calling the Southborough Stories Project. And we got a grant again from the Southborough Community Fund. And so this will be, again, a week-long program, 5 days, and it will include Southborough seniors this time.
Okay.
So what we would like to do is to get seniors to volunteer and come and talk to the kids about either some historical event in their life and what it was like to live through that, or an event in their own lives. And then the kids participating, who are 8 and up, are going to use that to create their story. So it's like journalistic cartooning almost. And they're going to use that to create their story. And then at the end, at the week, again, they'll have a book. Jonathan will make copies for everybody. And then we'll have a reception for both the kids who participated and their families and the seniors who also participated, so that they can also see everybody's work.
No, that's a great idea. We've been lacking some intergenerational things simply because of COVID, when it's been hard to get folks together. So I think that would be very interesting.
And what a fascinating idea to have kids who are interested in that genre, right? And who may be interested in drawing, actually illustrating some of those stories, or you hear, often, right? How often is it that you've got the classic high school project, and you have to go talk to your grandmother, or you have to go talk to somebody. Oh, how was it like in the old days, right? And then write a paper. But the notion of actually being able to illustrate it and having the library be the repository of all of that, it's just that's a wonderful. Once again, it speaks to, this isn't your grandmother's library. It still can be used by your grandmother, but it's got all these other things now. So it really illustrates what can be done. That's great.
Yeah, good.
So we will be looking for volunteers, senior volunteers. The program is going to run the last week in July.
All right. Well, make sure we get it in our newsletter that gets mailed out to everybody.
Absolutely.
But I'll also get you in front of the adult men's group, which is a really big group of interesting guys in Southborough. There's usually about 30 people that show up. And let me tell you, there are people that have been in Southborough for 60, 70 years and
they have a lot of stories.
Not a dull one among them. Not a dull one among them.
No, I bet.
A dull one among them.
I bet.
So it's really, really, really interesting. I'll get you over there. It's Friday morning, 10 to 11. We'll let you do a quick, 10-minute spiel beforehand and entice them.
Sounds good.
Good. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for that.
Good.
So Ryan, what else is going on? You're on mute, by the way. At the library, I get your email that talks about Wowberry all the time, and all the new stuff going on.
If it
Does
was
everybody
okay,
get that
I
in
think,
town?
Doug, I think Kim just had a couple things that she wanted to touch on too. I know she's going to be leaving us in a few minutes, but I promise I will get to some other stuff too.
I just also wanted to mention the story walk is outside. And so we put this in May of 2021. So if you know what a story walk is, it's 17, well, ours has 17 panels on stakes that they're all spaced apart, so that each panel tells a page of a story. So I take a book, I actually have to cut the book up, which is the first time was a little disturbing, but then you put them in each panel. And so you start at the beginning, you walk to the next one, and then, read the story. And then by the time you get to the end, you'll have read the whole story. And we had started it as, something, again, this was another, thanks to a grant from the Southborough Community Fund. But this was something that people could do during COVID because it was outdoors. You could do it, on your own. And you could do it anytime, even if the library's closed, the story walk's available. It's on the library grounds, and anybody's welcome to do it anytime. So I change the stories out about 4 times a year. And today, actually, midday, I'm going to be doing a filming with Southborough Access Media, where I'm going to be walking and reading the story walk, and then they'll film that and film the story itself. and we'll have that available on our website and I believe on their channel. So for
Mhm.
people to get over here and read it, then they can see it as well.
Great.
And where does the story walk for folks who may have missed it? Where does the story walk run? Where is it?
So it actually starts near the sidewalk that goes from the lights at the intersection up towards the town hall.
Yeah.
So it starts on that sidewalk. There's the brick wall or the stone wall that we have in the back between the library property and the cemetery property. So it runs kind of along there and then comes towards the parking lot and sort of curves over towards the parking lot at the end.
That's also a great idea. And by the way, I think that also speaks to the Southborough Community Fund, you know, and the fact that as a result of really the Southborough Community Fund,
Mhm.
you know, there are increasing amounts of resources to do these things. I know Doug and I were talking a little bit about earlier about one of the things I'm interested in is really developing more planned giving among seniors in order to provide long-term funding for organizations like the library. But it's just because in the nature of things, everybody knows the library is important, but at budget time, you know, when it's at the warrant, you're competing with fire and police and schools, and it's really hard to have those resources. But really through the community fund, more, you know, and I guess that just as a note to seniors who are watching this, kind of note to file, if you got an idea, talk to these folks, right? Because that's how these things showed up, is they made it up. They made it up and they thought about it and brainstormed and then went to the community fund and now they're doing it, you know? And so, and if you've been to the, you know, if you can think of something that could really benefit other seniors or the other people in the town, think about it and talk to the folks at the library. That's all.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All
Good.
right. Well, thank
Thank
you
you
so
again,
much
Kim.
for having me
Okay.
on today.
You're welcome.
Oh, it's great. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Thank you.
All right, Ryan.
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, Kim had a couple things she wanted to cover, so I just wanted to make sure she had some time.
Okay.
Probably the most exciting thing, I think, especially for seniors, is that the library is now fine free. So what does that mean, right? That means when you are late with a book, we're not going to charge you overdue fees anymore. That is a thing of the past. So welcome to 2023, where overdue fees are something that we're not interested in. So people are, I know that people are like, well, what if I never return a book? We will still charge you for a lost book. And there are a couple equipment items that we do still have to charge fines on. So that the three big ones are, we have a circulating hotspot collection now. So if you want to take out a small device, which gives you wireless internet, that's on the T-Mobile network, the library has those now. So that's a nice announcement for that, because those are still relatively new. We have 2 library telescopes that you can check out from the library.
Really?
That is also something that we have to charge overdue fees because it's a large piece of equipment. And then the other thing are physical museum passes that you can take out and then have to be returned. The library now has museum passes to over 20 institutions. I would say a little more than a quarter of those are passes that you have to bring back to the library when you're done. So that's like a nice announcement for all of those items. If people were not aware, it's good to check our website to see what museum passes are available, and people can contact me if they have any questions. But generally, if you are late now, a couple of days late with a book or a DVD, you don't have to be worried about that. That's going to be something that we don't charge you overdue fees for.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
When you talked about the telescopes, I'm just curious. I remember hearing this term from somebody, a museum of things, that libraries are more and more thinking of themselves as a place where you can borrow a number of things and not just the books or the DVDs or whatever. Do you imagine that becoming an increasing part of the library? Or are there particular things that you are looking for that you think kind of naturally complement what you do?
Yeah, so we call the collection More Than Books, and that's kind of my like sort of personal thing, because people call it library of things, right? And a book is a thing. So I don't know how that makes it different. That's always my thing. So more than books, I think helps hit the idea that this is stuff we're circulating that is a little bit beyond what I think people imagine libraries do. Our chief issue, like one of the things we really want to plan, and this is a good segue into going into the LSTA cooking grant that the library received late last year, but we were looking at doing cake pans, and that's still something that we're hoping we can implement. That's been successful at a lot of neighboring libraries in Massachusetts. So there's a lot of logistic problems, like what if people don't clean the cake pan when they return it, right? We've got to kind of deal with that issue. But our chief problem is storage. So we have to, the hotspots were okay because they all, even though there's about 11 of them, they're all in a basket behind the desk. But as you can imagine, the telescopes take up a large amount of space, right? So we're running into this issue. I can't actually 100% for sure say that we're going to circulate cake pans because I don't know how to store them yet. That has been the chief obstacle in trying to implement that.
So tell us about the grant, the recipe grant that you've got.
Yeah, so through the
this goes with the cake pan stuff.
Yes, yes.
If you're really good, we'll give you a cake pan to do the rest.
So in previous years, we have worked with the Massachusetts Board of Library Commissioners to apply for funding for special projects. So that was, in previous years, we did an idea lab in the new teen room that we built after the flood. So we have a 3D printer and a laser cutter that are sort of for educational purposes for kids and youth programs. Then we did a gardening one a couple years after that called Dig In, which helped to enhance the library seed exchange, which is coming back in March. So that's my little plug for that. And the library seed exchange is, the idea is you can come to the library, you can take seeds, and then you can start your own garden. At the end of the harvest season, you can then return the seeds, and it becomes sort of a, like an exchange, a true idea of an exchange, right?
Yeah.
And it's been very popular. This is our 3rd year doing it, and that's headed up by our library supervisor, Carol Logan. And that is also supported heavily by the Friends of the Southborough Library. So I have to give them credit. They give us a lot of money at the onset to buy seeds that we would like. We found that people really like taking seeds. People returning seeds is a little less, just maybe for the first few years, right? So this is now the 3rd big grant that we're doing, and these are all through the Library Services and Technology Act, which is a federal program. The MBLC then distributes the money, but we have to do a lot of work in applying for grant application. So we have a very successful cookbook club, and the idea is that our youth services librarian Mariana, this is primarily for an adults, it's kind of her adult program. She selects a cookbook. Participants who want to join in also take out the cookbook from the library. They prepare a recipe, and then they bring it into the library and share it. And that's once a month on Tuesdays. So that's been very popular. As a result of this work over the past couple of years, we decided that food education and nutrition education, and then it's actually the cookbook club primarily benefits seniors. That's been the sort of target demographic, I would say, for people coming in. But we wanted to do more connecting, sort of like what you spoke about before, is intergenerational programs, right? Like how can we involve the entire Southborough community? So we looked at, specific youth programs. We have a couple teen programming coming up, and we have some virtual programs, which are also geared more for adults and seniors. So that's kind of where we're at. We have a lot of things planned. There's also a lot of in-person programs with some of the regular, I call them our regular, but they're programmers we have back. So if anybody's ever been to a Kim Larkin chocolate workshop at the library, she's going to come back and do a couple of those in the spring into the summer. And then we're also going to have Kate Donovan from Blackstone Valley Veggie Gardens talking about sort of vegetable gardening and growing your own food. So that kind of connects back to the Dig In grant that we did in the previous year too.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of information though.
No, that's right. So, but the email newsletter that you send out goes to a big list that you have? Is it everybody in the town, or do people have to sign up for it, or what?
Yeah. Yeah, so the newsletter is something where if you register for a library card, we will opt you into our newsletter so that you can get information about the library. You can also sign up, like if there's a particular email that you want to use, or you have a husband or a spouse who you want to get registered for that, you you can do it, but just ask their permission first, is what I would say. But yeah, anybody can subscribe to it. There's a link on the library's website, and you can also sign up on our Facebook page.
Oh, great. So the point is, go get a library card if you don't have one, because you never know when you're going to use it. They're free. They have really nice ones now, by the way, nice plastic ones that clip onto your keychain. And so go get one. This is a great resource, right, Arthur? I mean, think of all the things that they're doing.
And once again, go get the library card, because it's going to give you the reason to go into the library.
Right.
And while you're there, just walk around, and just, talk to the folks and kind of see what's there. Now, every once in a while I have to glance to the side, because as I always tell people, my job is to keep time, and I notice we're getting close on time.
Right.
And so, Ryan, we really appreciate your coming on today. This has been really, really helpful. Yeah. And I guess that kind of segues into kind of and Doug, thank you very much for finding Ryan, which you always find these great guests. so folks, this is my last show. And actually this may be Doug's and my last show as part of a show that is called Frank and Mary in Southborough. One of the reasons, as I mentioned to Doug, is that I decided I'm turning 73 this month. I really want to devote my kind of spare time, and I think of this show as kind of my, this is my fun time, to focusing on getting seniors to do planned giving. And I know I'm going to be talking to folks more about that, but I think I've come to appreciate the importance of that. As many folks know, I do nothing but elder law. I have 2,000 clients who are seniors, and I've come to realize for so many people, they don't, when they're doing their estate plans, they seldom think about, so I get it. Most of the money is going to your kids, right? That's just the way it goes. But as I always tell my clients, your kids don't need all the money. Take a percentage. And what I always talk about is the 10%, that's like the classic biblical tithing, right? And make that a legacy. Make that a legacy that you're supporting a local institution. And I think this is this guest is a perfect example of that, right? Don't you want the library to kind of always be there? Don't you want the library to always be? So anyway, I digress. So I'm interested in this, but as a result, that's what I'm going to be doing. And I just want to take the opportunity to thank Doug. Doug, this has been a great time. I've really, really enjoyed being with you and doing these shows. And I know that you're talking about with the folks at the Senior Center looking at doing a show that, once again, another show that is specifically focused on seniors. But I think I know you've taken out a lot of time, and I really, really appreciate it. So,
well, thank you. I've enjoyed it, and I've learned a lot myself as well. So it's been great. And we are going to sort of reinvent the show. The Council on Aging Board is meeting, and we're going to decide what's the right format, but it's got basically the same theme. You want to stay in Southborough. What are the resources that you need to know about, to be here and really have a great time here while you're retired, and be aware of what's going on in the town, as well as people that are coming into the town with interesting things to do or things that you really need to know about. So that will continue. I'm not exactly sure what the exact format will be, but we really think it's important for seniors to have this kind of a place to go and get more information that they can't get online, for example.
And I think even though you're young, you're an ideal host for that show.
I'm older than you are.
So Doug, good luck, folks. Thank you very, very much for watching.
You're welcome.
I'm sure that you'll enjoy the new program, and thanks for watching over the years. I really appreciated the opportunity to speak to a lot of folks. I've loved talking to the many guests that Doug has had. And so enjoy the day. Happy New Year. And Doug, good luck on the new show.
Thank you. Same to you, Arthur.
Thanks, folks, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.